Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. We're going to talk about a recent rocket explosion down in Florida. This time it was Jeff Bezos, Blue Origins. And this rocket blew up on the launch pad. And when I say it took everything out, it took everything out. My heart goes out to you, Floridian residents down there, because you're always putting up with these rocket explosions and it's contaminating the entire environment. Elon, he blows up on literally everything he tries to launch. And I remember the residents talking about how the air would smell after the explosion and it would pollute the water because debris would fall all in the water around there and it falls all over the land. People were talking about finding debris in their yard. So it's contaminating everything. And you may not feel it now, but it's got to be taking toll on people's health that lives close in that area where all those explosions are happening. Elon, I remember he blew up one almost every few weeks down there in Florida. He was blowing up a rocket. And even places like the Bahamas and Aruba were finding debris from the explosion that happened in Florida. But I know the islands really aren't that far away. But it just goes to show you how far the debris travels. So it's going into the Atlantic Ocean and everything. So I don't know how y'all live close to those rockets being launched. I mean, I guess you got to live somewhere. And many of you probably lived there long before Elon and Jeff Bezos were launching these rockets. So I certainly understand that. I mean, I'm not knocking it, but I'm just wondering how it's going to take toll on the children and the elderly and just everybody, even your pets in that area. It can't be good. So, anyway, let's get to this so y'all can see how bad this explosion seriously was. It was bad. Y'all should sue Jeff Bezos. Please give me a one if you can see my screen. Thank you. I believe this happened on the 28th. I believe it really was not that long ago. Thank you, y'all.
Crewed mission. This was Blue Origin conducting what's known as a static fire test of its New Glenn mega rocket out there at the Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral in Florida a little over an hour ago. Now, what a static fire test is it means the rocket's engines are ignited, but the rocket itself stays locked down to the launch pad. As you can see, something has gone wrong, causing a huge explosion. This was a test ahead of what was going to be that same rocket's fourth launch in a number of weeks. The aim of this project is to take satellites into space. Now, Blue Origin thankfully says that all of its workers have been accounted for. No reports of any injuries or fatalities. It doesn't know what's gone wrong, or hasn't said, at least anyway. All it said so far is, quote, an anomaly occurred. This likely means that Blue Origin will now have to hit pause on this New Glenn project for quite some time as it tries to figure out what the problem is. Elon Musk, the owner of rival space company SpaceX, he has put out a statement on his X account saying that most unfortunate, rockets are hard. That explosion, as you can see there, quite frightening, could be seen from many, many kilometers away.
erupted into a mammoth fireball seen up and down Florida's Space Coast.
That is crazy.
Wow. Something went haywire during a test firing of its engines, a significant setback for more than the space company.
This is a very critical problem for NASA to deal with. We simply don't know the extent of the damage to the launch pad or what it might take to fix the rocket and get it flying again.
Daylight showed the heavily damaged launch pad, New Glenn's only launch pad, including twisted metal and a collapsed lightning tower. Repairs could take months. What's unclear, the setback's impact on NASA's Artemis program to return to the moon, ahead of the Chinese. Blue Origin's developing lunar landers for NASA to deliver astronauts and cargo to a planned moon base near the lunar South Pole. Next year's Artemis 3 mission aims to practice docking the Orion capsule with a Blue Origin lander. And all the landers need the New Glenn rocket to get to space.
A setback like this obviously is going to push those plans back a bit.
Blue Origin founder Jeff Bezos posted about the explosion. It's too early to know the root cause. Very rough day, but we'll rebuild whatever needs rebuilding and get back to flying. NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman said the agency will assess near-term mission impacts. Tony, NASA has also hired SpaceX to help get America back to the moon, but its lunar lander is behind schedule. And after the most recent flight of its Starship rocket had problems, it's also grounded. Tony?
Mark, thank you very much.
You're watching what the world of rocketry calls an anomaly, one of the most spectacular fails any of us will ever see.
That is crazy.
Blue Origin's New Glenn rocket, its great deep space hope, exploded into a fireball on the launch pad during a test firing of its engines. A spectacle so mammoth, people could see it up and down Florida's Space Coast. Miraculously, no one was hurt.
Whole sky lit up, and about probably 40, 50 seconds later, there was a huge boom.
The rocket was scheduled to launch a cluster of satellites for Amazon's LEO internet service next week. The satellites were not on board. Blue Origin founder Jeff Bezos said, "It's too early to know the root cause, but we're already working to find it. Very rough day, but we'll rebuild whatever needs rebuilding and get back to flying."
It's not just a matter of fixing the rocket. They're going to have to determine what they have to do to get the launch pad back in shape. And we don't have any idea yet of the extent of the damage.
What's also unclear, the setback's impact on NASA's Artemis program to return to the moon. Blue Origin's lunar lander relies on the New Glenn rocket to get to space. It's key to NASA's ambitious moon-based plans and the Artemis 3 mission scheduled for next year. NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman said the agency will assess near-term mission impacts and get back to launching rockets.
Especially if you're a space fan, Cape Canaveral, an explosion followed by a fireball. Can't be good, and it wasn't. It was a ground test of Blue Origin's New Glenn rocket. This rocket, it's not brand new to the fleet. In fact, Blue Origin has had success with this rocket, launching it a couple of times already. Former NASA astronaut Butch Wilmore, he joined us a couple of hours ago, talked about the setbacks that this can potentially cause for the program.
Yeah, and Fox Weather correspondent Katie Byrne has been following this story all morning. Katie, what's the latest? We know Jeff Bezos referred to this as a very rough day.
Well, guys, we know that this explosion happened on the launch pad. So we saw after the explosion, this fireball shoot up in the sky over Florida's Space Coast. Some people described hearing the shock wave that came next and then smelling sulfur in the air. And new this morning, Blue Origin officials are warning that locals could see debris from this wash ashore for the coming days, if not weeks.
Oh, man.
Wow, that just lit up.
There's the shockwave.
It happened right around 9 o'clock last night during a test at Florida's Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. The mayor of Cape Canaveral, Wes Morrison, actually took his own video, sending that in and alerting the public to what was happening, though most people caught it with their own eyes. Blue Origin founder Jeff Bezos says all personnel are safe. No one was on board. In a statement shared to X, the company said an anomaly occurred during a hot fire engine test. Bezos vowed the company would rebuild and continue flying.
And we just heard a big, like, boom. Sky went orange. It was crazy, like, big explosion.
The whole sky
Like, the
stuff
whole-
looked like fireballs in the sky. It was cool.
Yeah, cool for some, scary for others, depending on how close you were to that fireball. But now the big question is, what could that rebuild look like? Some experts think it could take more than a year. There's the launch pad they have to fix, and then nearby infrastructure surrounding it that may have caught fire too. You can actually see in some before and after videos that the explosion took down one of two lightning protection towers nearby. The last time we saw something like this was about a decade ago. The last major launch pad explosion was at this space station, that is, at the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. It was a helium system failure that led to a SpaceX rocket explosion. And that took about 15 months to completely rebuild. So that could be an indication of what we're looking at here. But of course, this is making big news, not only because of these crazy videos that we're seeing, but also because NASA just announced a multi-million-dollar contract with Blue Origin. They're counting on them to help them with their future Artemis moon mission. So we'll have to see if this could delay some of that, guys.
2 steps forward, 1 step back. There are setbacks, and we have seen it. Rocket science is not easy. It's really tough. Actually, Elon Musk.
You'll see how many major disasters these folks have, and this government is still ready to give them billion-dollar contracts to continue on. I mean, it's just amazing. They can mess up anything and still get more chances and more chances and more. It's just is unbelievable.
Right, saying that rockets are hard, but there is so many brilliant minds coming together to work through these issues.
And time is of the essence, Katie, as you know, a bit of a, I won't call it a space race, but this competition to try to get back to the moon. And it's got all of our attentions. And we'll continue focusing on it, the successes and the anomalies or failures. Thank you, Katie. Appreciate it.
Whoa, something just happened. I don't think that was supposed to happen.
Because we're talking about an epidemic. What? What do you mean? What happened? Where's the rock?
All right, y'all. This is what happened. All right. So, they're saying, oh, well, it was no harm to the public, but they were inhaling sulfur, you know? That's why I'm like, you know what, y'all? You're going to see. I would not be surprised if you went around that neighborhood and a lot of people are suffering from respiratory illnesses. I would not be shocked because there have been over the last few years, there are literally always explosions down there with those rockets. You can't tell me that's not having any effect on those people that live around there. And there's a lot of people that do live around there. So, you're right. They should be sued. That's what I was saying. But the government here is ready to give them billion-dollar more contracts. So it is what it is. Douglas Ledger, thank you for the super sticker. Antithesis, thank you for the super chat. Alcha supporting. And thank you both for your support for my channel. Thank you. I deeply appreciate it. And the thing is, y'all, I know Elon has really only white and Asian engineers working for Starlink. Well, why are y'all having so many accidents? I thought y'all had high IQs and know it all. Y'all shouldn't be having any accidents. You got people that y'all claim you're the smartest and best at everything, but yet we're looking at all these explosions. I'm gonna have to look at Jeff Bezos' staff. I bet you it looks the same way. I bet you it does. So much for hiring people based on merit, and we're looking at all these explosions all the time. Yeah. Yeah, merit looks awfully funny these days. Hey, y'all were the ones that put all that mess out there about being the smartest and best of everything, and your country's insolvent. And every time we see these rocket launches, there's always some explosion, but you're the best and biggest and baddest of them all, right? Yeah, yeah, right. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. My next live will be at 3:45, and it's going to be on more sonic booms, this time up around Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. And there is an explanation. It's finally being revealed. So you'll see that at 3:45. And don't forget to pick up your hair products. Shalom, family.